Let's go! Zavion Thomas, he's an LSU Tiger. Comment down below, do you believe this is a top 3 wide receiver lock next year for the Tigers? And I truly do believe so. I think this guy is going to be something special. And keep in mind, we're not talking about wide receiver play like right now. We're talking about special teams. LSU finally having a return specialist. Last season, that was supposed to be Aaron Anderson. Didn't quite pan out that way. And now you have Zavion Thomas, who is just so unbelievably fast. And he does have a little wiggle to his step. And you see in the background him taking an opening kickoff return to the Hizzy baby. And my favorite thing about him is when he makes moves, he doesn't lose a whole lot of speed, right? During that whole return you just watched, it looked as if he was smooth, right? I felt last year Caleb Jackson was a really good kickoff return guy for LSU. I think Zavion Thomas is even better in that department, and I think Caleb next year will have more of a focus on just playing running back. I think Thomas is going to be an absolute big-time aid in the return game, not only on kickoff returns. So here we go. The best team since 2019 LSU, the undefeated 2022 Georgia Bulldog National Championship team. 17 seconds left to go in the half. So we need Zavion to make a play here on this punt return. And you'll see he actually makes a pretty bold decision to go after a ball that was under booted. And he gets a decent bounce, and this is Keely Ringo right here, 5-star athlete, makes him miss. Punt return right, he's got a wall of blockers over here, but making him miss and then still having the afterburners here to get to the sideline is really good. And, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this was from his true freshman season. So we have 2 years of evidence of him making special teams plays, and return touchdowns, which is something we've not seen LSU do really at all these past couple of seasons. And look, it's harder and harder to return kicks and punts for touchdowns because, well, teams are so good at booting it out of the end zone and punting directionally now, but still, it's impressive. Now, let's talk about him as a receiver. We are done with the return game, but I have linked down below my absolute favorite play from Zavion Thomas as a punt returner, and it was actually against LSU. So make sure you're checking out. Every person that signs up for Patreon gets a Joe Burrow card in the mail from me. So Will Rogers rolling out to the right side. I want you to see how difficult of a catch this was in a blowout game going up against Andre Sam, and he's able to stay in bounds, get 1 foot in before floating out, despite LSU saying he was out of bounds. And this is a really good job by the sideline and Brian Kelly trying to influence the call. They actually do give it to him. Andre Sam had this defended pretty well at first, but Will Rogers does a good job putting this on the back shoulder right here. And this ends up being a very good catch by Zavion Thomas. Obviously, in this situation, he drifts almost out of bounds. Also, something else I've seen, you wear the mouthpiece, but you don't actually wear the mouthpiece, right? I've always found that interesting, but still, this is a really good catch. He almost drifts too far out of bounds, though. Good job securing it and making sure you keep that right foot down. Obviously, at the next level, now you want to get 2 feet in, but still, that is just a ridiculously good grab right there by Zavion. Now we get to his best game statistically as a Mississippi State player was versus Auburn, over a hundo and a tutty in this one. And he tightropes the sideline again. I mean, you could call him Nick freaking Walinda. Who remembers Nick Walinda? That guy was a freaking stud. Anyway, this quarterback, their backup Mike Wright, the transfer from Vandy, leads him almost too far. He makes the extended catch and falls out of bounds and is still able to secure it. And one of my favorite things about that play was Mississippi State motioning him. I think Zavion's going to fit in just fine. And you'll see it again here. Look, full extension. Bang. That's some really freaking good stuff. So now we get to here, and what's interesting is this was the role that I feel LSU envisioned with Aaron Anderson, right? Just a lot of, screens, jet sweep kind of actions like this. Obviously a very Kansas City Chiefian kind of play, if you will. I mean, misdirection, handoff right here, or it's actually just a little toss. And, of course, LSU did a lot of this with Malik Neighbors last year. And the speed to get around, once again, it's the ease in which he's able to get past defenders. It's really impressive, but that was more so great play design of anything. Now, if you watch PHL live streams, you know one thing. We always talk about how this year in the SEC in particular, first plays of fourth quarters have been so freaking chaotic this year in the conference. I don't know exactly why, but all right, so now we get to this. And as you guys know, this year for LSU, one of the best touchdown creators was, just receivers in the slot scoring in the back corner-ish portion of the end zone. This isn't a slot fade per se where, the receiver's just running like a little go route into the space. This is actually just a corner route. And you'll see, it might have actually been a slot fade, but since his DB had such outside leverage, Thomas might have seen this and said, look, I'm just going to go around you this way and just find my way over here. And you can see Mike Wright is staring this down to the right side. He's looking at the safety here. And I want you just to watch this catch. I mean, this is covered as covered can be covered. And he still throws it up. He gives Zavion a chance to make a play, and that's just, it just doesn't make any sense, right? Auburn is just known for having people make absolutely ridiculous catches against them in the back corner of the end zone. But still, it's just crazy. So you'll see this angle right here. Once again, the protection's really good, and this throw is just right in the thick of it. This is just redunculous. Okay, look at this. Bang. I mean, one-hander while falling backwards and keeping control all the way through for the process of the catch. Zavion. That is so sensational. So it's 1st and 10 here, and it's the same thing. They're motioning Zavion Thomas to give him a little bit of a running-ish start and a free release. All the DBs are playing off of him. And once again, it's just one of these deep over routes. And this catch, honestly, is just pretty simple stuff. I just want to show you this concept again because this was once again something LSU did a lot of, motioning their very talented receivers to get them out into space. And that, once again, easier catch than the first one you saw, but it's still a good catch nonetheless. There are so many different ways you can support us before we get to this absolute absurd Zavion Thomas catch. Hit that super thanks button in the bottom right corner of the screen or Venmo Cash App at Card of the Power goes a long way. Now, before I show you this absolutely ridiculous catch, I want to remind you how bad of a situation he was in last year with this Mississippi State offense. This is, once again, backup quarterback Mike Wright, just a not-so-great offensive line. You guys saw that we blew them out on the road as well. This team was just so bad offensively with a very young, out-of-his-shoes defensive-minded coach, and there was just a bad team, right? And he still thrived, especially towards the end of the season when he started getting more of the reps. You're looking at the stats, for yourself right now. All right, here we go. It's 3rd and 10. You get Zavion at the top of the screen right here. It's straight man-to-man coverage. And you'll see Texas A&M only brings a 3-man rush versus this 5-man protection. Quads to the bottom of the screen. So Mike Wright knows that this is straight man-to-man coverage right here. Protection still breaks down on this 3-man rush. And Wright just throws this up while he's getting hit. So this ends up being a pretty good throw, all things considered. And 11, Harmon actually had a pick earlier in this game. Look at this catch. One-handed, and he got a foot in bounds. All right, you'll see, the replay there. I mean, that's just ridiculous. And you'll get one more angle right here, okay? So, let me know, do you think he's a lock to be a top 3 wide receiver for LSU next year? We saw a little bit of everything, right? Him getting, little pitches in the backfield, him making plays just outside, and him making plays, obviously, motioning inside. I'm not getting to a few reps from the Ole Miss game. He can line up in the slot. He returns kicks. He does a little bit of everything. I think the only weakness you can really even point to is his height, right? He's not the absolute biggest guy, but you'll see he's got a stocky build, right? He's compact. He makes a lot of guys miss, and he carries his body really well, right? He's really good in the midst of chaos, and this is one of those instances where it's chaotic. DB turns his head right here, get a little bit of a shove, but, that's just typical hand fighting that goes back and forth with DBs and receivers. And look at this. While his hand is being grabbed, okay, he makes a one-handed catch that needed to be a one-handed catch. And then the ability to then get his right foot inbounds is ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. So I think he's going to do really big things. So let me know what you guys think, okay? It is! Power out. LSU. Boom. Now, you're really going to have to look for it, but there are some crazy plays in this Ole Miss game right here from my Power Hour SEC channel. And tonight, we're doing some Parmesan crusted chicken. Let's go!